Hi everybody, this is Leo from Between Friends. Tina's not with us today. She's actually working. Not that she does not work, but she's not in Conroe as we speak. So I'm here today and our special guest is Miss Stephanie Wade. And Miss Stephanie was just on, was it Good Day Houston?
Yes, Good Day Houston with Deborah Duncan.
Yeah, there you go. And the reason we have Stephanie here today is to bring awareness to organ donation. Ooh.
Yeah.
It gets me emotional immediately. So I want to hear your story and how old you were and, you know, just everything. And I'll let you know a little bit about my brother. So,
Okay. So my story starts when I was 13 years old. I had a double lung transplant.
oh, wow.
Yeah, that was really intense.
Yeah.
Basically, the reason for that transplant was I had cancer as a baby, and the chemo and radiation really messed up my whole body, really. But really, it hit my lungs the hardest.
Okay.
So we didn't find out, ironically, we didn't find out until about 12 years later that I needed this transplant,
Okay.
you know, to get a better quality of life.
Yeah.
So I had that in July of 2013, thankfully, and I only waited about 6 weeks for that.
Wow, 6 weeks, that's kind of unheard of, folks.
It was
That's
really
amazing.
quick, really
Yeah.
quick. And you know, they always tell you, you know, you could be waiting weeks, months, years. There's people who are on the transplant for years
Yeah.
waiting. And I was lucky enough to not have to wait that long.
Yep.
So it was incredible.
Wow. So were you feeling, even when they do a lung transplant, do they go through the front? Or do they, how do they do it?
There's two different ways that they do it. In my situation, my lung cavity was so compressed that they had to go in the front to make room. Usually they do it this way, horizontally.
Oh, okay.
So they had to go down vertically because my chest cavity was so small.
Yeah.
So
So they opened you up, really, like when they do a heart transplant. kind of-
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. And I get asked that all the time. If you see my scar, they're like, "Oh, did you have a heart transplant or a heart surgery?" No, double lung.
Yeah. So after you had the transplant, how soon after that were you feeling better?
I was in the hospital for 10 days. So
That's amazing. That's not long.
Yeah,
After,
not long.
yeah.
Again, it's a circumstance thing. So it varies people person to person. I was lucky enough to not have to be in the hospital.
Yeah.
I didn't have any major complications with the surgery, but that was a blessing in itself.
Right.
Because I've had many friends who've had a transplant and they've had a lot of complications and they had to stay in the hospital weeks on weeks and weeks, and it's so grueling and it's actually really painful.
Right. Oh,
Like,
I couldn't imagine.
You get over the pain slowly and they help you.
Yeah.
They actually get you out of bed the next day after your surgery.
Yeah.
That's how soon they want you moving and using those lungs, you know?
So what about anti-rejection medication? Are you on a lot? Are you on a low dose?
My sweet anti-rejection meds. Oh, they're awesome, really. Yes. I am on a magical long list of meds, yes.
Yeah.
And anti-rejection meds is one of them.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. That's crazy. So the reason I know a lot about this is my brother had a liver transplant. And he had the liver transplant because he had a skin condition called psoriasis. And I'm sure plenty of you out there have heard about psoriasis. So his dermatologist put him on a medication called Remicade. the medication was not clearing up the psoriasis quick enough for the doctor, so he doubled the dose. And and it's an IV way of taking the medication.
Oh, boy.
And within 4 days, it ruined my brother's liver.
Oh no.
So my brother went yellow, of course. He smelled like alcohol
Yeah.
because the toxins in his system were poisoning him.
Yeah.
And even my mom thought he was drinking, you know? And I had a lot of people ask me that. They're like, did he drink? You know, why did his liver give out? No, it was a medication. And we have to be really careful what we take. We have to be careful the doctors we listen to. You know, most of these medications say on the boxes, don't take them for more than 3 days, and if you do, it can affect your kidneys, your liver, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But my brother's story, he waited a year,
Wow.
and there was many times he went to the hospital again, was in the ER, was in the ICU.
Yeah.
It just, you know, and to see that and to know what he went through, oh my gosh, you don't realize how important being an organ donor is.
Yeah.
And here I go,
Yeah.
you and until your family need it,
Yeah.
or until somebody you love needs it, and then it becomes the most important thing in the world to you, you know. And it's anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
When I was young. I
Yeah.
was 13 years
But
old.
still, that's like you're a teenager. That's like
Yeah.
you're
But
in the prime.
I couldn't fully comprehend, what was going on.
Yeah.
I've had medical issues before.
Right.
But again, I was really, really young. I was a baby when I had my cancer. I didn't know what was going on. I don't remember any of that.
Right.
So when I was 13 and I had, these issues with my lungs, it kind of hit me that, I knew something was going on. I knew something, was wrong with me. I knew I was sick. I knew I had to be in the hospital a lot. But I guess I just didn't fully grasp
Right.
what was going on. And
So in a way, sorry guys, it's just such an emotional subject, you
It
know?
is, yes, it really is.
Yeah. So in a way, it was good that you were young to not remember a lot of what you went through.
yeah.
I can't imagine what your parents went through.
Oh.
You know, I mean,
I think about that all the time,
Yeah.
like my parents, bless my parents and the rest of my family, my aunts, my cousins, my extended family, everyone, they threw pancake benefits for me.
Yeah.
They did fundraisers to help my family raise money for transplant, because transplant is expensive.
right.
The surgery in itself is expensive. The medication.
It blows my mind that, of course we'll talk about this. There's a precious family that loses a loved one. And it's a donation, and yet the cost involved in it is tremendous.
Yeah.
And in essence, the ones making the money from it are the hospital. And something needs to change. It's just crazy. Like the medications you talked about. My brother is very, very blessed. He's on the minimum.
Yeah. That's good.
Yes,
That's
his
very good.
donor was like perfect match. And
That is a blessing.
yes, her blood type, his blood type, he had an unusual blood type, I believe. I'm not sure, Mum, if you're listening, or Jared, you can let me know. But it was perfect, and the way everything happened. Do you know about your donor? Do you know?
I
Okay.
know quite a bit about her. I was able to hear from her family about a couple months after I had my transplant. So the way it works is that you have to wait a year until you're able to contact your donor family. So,
Is that just in Texas?
I'm not sure. I think pretty much everywhere.
Okay.
But I think it
The
just
gift
gives
of life
both
is-
people
okay.
time to, kind of
Yeah.
cope.
Because I know my brother got a letter, like, within a couple months.
Yeah.
And he read that letter, and everything they go through,
Yes.
it's like gift of life. Open that letter. They make sure there's no personal information. I don't need that name, thanks. There's no personal information, no phone numbers, no emails or anything where you as the recipient can contact that donor family, and then if the recipient wants to respond, they can. But they do tell you a lot of times it doesn't happen. The recipient of the organ that you donated will not want to be in touch with you.
Yes, and that is true. They do tell you a lot of the time. My donor family contacted me, and the letter basically told me who my donor was. And she was a 17-year-old girl who unfortunately passed away in a skiing accident while on holiday with her family. And she had a pretty big family, and when I first read that letter, I bawled.
Yeah.
I was like, this was a person.
Right.
This was a person just like me.
Yeah.
She was a girl, she was a teenager, she was a sister, a cousin, a friend, she was a person, and it really, really hits you when your donor family reaches out and tells you about who this person was.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah, when my brother got his letter, I know he cried when he read it. And it's been 8 years. It may be 7. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But his donor was a beautiful young lady. We are in a coffee shop, folks, and that's the blender. Someone's getting a flat. So, but she was a beautiful young lady, and it doesn't matter if someone's beautiful, but to me, every donor is a donor.
Oh yeah.
Is
Anyone
amazing.
who's a donor.
Yes. Yes. And she was 23. Her name's April. And just her family are just precious to us. And I actually got to meet her mom with my brother, but my brother had already met her.
Yeah.
So when I was back in Michigan, I got to meet her. And just being thankful, you just can't. I'm sorry, guys. It's such an amazing.
It's so emotional.
It
It's
is.
so overwhelming.
It is.
It's all these emotions. Yeah.
Yeah. It's it just can't be put into words. And the organization Gift of Life has amazing people that work for them. And
Completely.
I don't know if you're this way, but my brother has to go and have his blood work and everything checked.
Yes, I actually just had mine
you
done.
did? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I actually just had mine done.
That's
Lovely.
the worst, guys. Yeah. For the rest of your life. Blood work, making sure your levels are good.
You have to see your transplant doctors. When I first got my transplant, I had to do this thing called a bronchoscopy, which is where they go in. I'm asleep, so I don't feel anything.
Yeah.
They go in with a little scope and take a piece of tissue of the lungs to see if there's rejection or no rejection.
Oh, wow.
And that is a very, very important procedure because it helps the doctors determine if your organ is going into rejection or not.
Okay, so do they have to do that to you often?
They had to do it for the first 6 months, and then they did it every year for about 3 years.
Wow.
And now I don't have to do it that much anymore.
Yeah.
Only if it's like absolutely necessary.
Okay. So if they feel that your levels are maybe not quite right, they're like,
Yes.
well,
Or
let's go take
if
a
I'm
look.
if I'm sick and they suspect
okay.
something is with my lungs, then they might do it. But it really just depends.
Okay. Do you have to be careful during allergy season or flu season?
Flu season, any kind of sick season, really.
Yeah. Well, welcome to Texas because
Yeah.
it's kind of a constant
Yes.
thing here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my brother's in Michigan, and he's a nurse.
Oh, wow.
And when he was in organ failure, before he even had his transplant, he was very sick. That's when he was taking his test to be a nurse.
Oh, wow.
You know, so here he is in intensive care, taking his nursing exam.
Yep.
And yet we have people that, oh, I can't work, I've hurt my baby finger. You know, I look at him and he's my hero. You know, he's my hero.
And, you know, that's how I was when I was sick. You know, I was not going to let the fact that I was on oxygen 24/7,
Yeah.
even when I was sleeping, I was not going to let the fact that I could barely walk,
Yeah.
even an inch, without feeling like I was going to pass out because I was so short of breath.
Yeah.
I was not going to let that stop me from doing what I wanted in my life and living my life and going to the movies with my friends and having lunch with my family and,
Yeah.
you know, doing the things that I should be doing
Right.
normally.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about a lot of us who are going through organ failure. I have seen it a lot.
Yeah.
That we don't let it slow us down.
Right.
We're gonna
crazy.
keep pushing through.
The strength to want to live, I think that just, you know, it lights a fire.
Oh yeah, it does.
You know, like I'm not going to give up. I'm going to fight. And I can tell you, I'm a baby. If my sinuses are hurting or I've got pressure, you know, it's like, oh, woe is me. I can't go out. You know,
Yes.
but you know, and then you think about the hundreds of thousands of people that are waiting on a list. You know, you're a name on a list. And do you remember the day when you got the phone call? Okay, yeah.
I remember. So, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and tell you the story without crying too much.
I would like
Every time I say this, I get a very.
It's okay. We're crying in here today. It's all right.
So, my dad was actually getting ready for work the night I got my call.
Yeah.
And, you know, they give you a little pager. I don't know if it was the same way with your brother, but they gave us a pager.
Uh-huh.
And basically it would go off. Whether it was a match or not, it would go off if they had something available.
Right.
So if it wasn't a match, you would have to go back home and wait. So that night, it was a match, and our pager was going off crazy.
Yeah.
And we were like looking around, like, what's that noise? Like, because we kind of forgot we had a pager.
Isn't it funny? Right. You anticipate. For me, it was the phone ringing.
Yeah.
Because in Michigan, they called my brother's cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he had his phone with him all the time.
Right.
And I waited for a year for that phone call for
Yeah.
him. And I worked for a dentist at the time, and they let me keep my cell phone in the operatory with patients
Right.
on buzz, you know, not where it would ring, in case
Right.
the call came.
Right.
And the day it came, I'm going to let you finish, and then I'll tell you what happened to us. But you're right. It was like, what?
It was like, yeah, because we kind of just got used to sitting and waiting and, you know, wondering when is it going to go off. And then it finally goes off, and we're like, huh, okay. And my dad goes, it's your pager. And I'm like, what do you mean it's your pager? And then the hospital calls, and it's my transplant coordinator, and she says, you need to get down here right away, we have a match. And I'm like, you know, I'm looking at my dad, I'm like, what is she saying? What is she saying? What is she saying? And I'm like, I want to know, I want to know.
You were younger, so they had to talk to your parents.
Right,
Well, my
right.
brother, he answered the phone.
Right.
So, yeah.
So as soon as he got off the phone, he was like, we need to pack a bag, we need to get this, we need to get this, we need to, like, it was so frantic. It was like, hurry, hurry, get ready. And I was running around, I was like, running with an oxygen tank, imagine that. But I was like, I was so ready, I was like, yes, this is it. I'm finally gonna get, you know, the chance to be, you know, free and oxygen, no more oxygen and all this other stuff.
Right.
I was so excited, and I was crying, and I was shaking, and I was just so overwhelmed, and my body was pumping with adrenaline. It was overwhelming, you know?
Right.
So we were throwing things into the overnight bag, and my mom was crying, and my dad was crying, and we grabbed everything and we threw it into the back of the truck and we rushed down to the hospital. And you know, they prep you, and that's the thing. They tell you, okay, we're gonna prep you. If it's not a match, then they take everything
You'll
off
be going
and
home.
Go home.
Yeah.
But it was a match. They double checked, they triple checked. It was a match.
Yeah.
So I had, you know, they did my IV. They did, you know, they checked to make sure I was Stephanie Wade.
Right.
They checked all their records, and I remember I had a lot of family friends come meet us at the hospital. My mom's friend, my mom's cousins, and other people.
Yeah. People she didn't know showed up. I'm sure.
It was like, I remember it, but it was also like a blur at
Yeah.
the same time.
Yeah.
It was all happening so fast.
Right.
Because they have to get you into surgery as soon as they can
Yeah.
to preserve the
Right.
organ.
Yes.
So I hugged people and we cried and we prayed and we, you know, we did everything. We read scriptures, we sang, I don't know, we did a lot of things.
Yeah.
So they finally, about 10:30-ish, maybe 11, they finally took me back to the OR. My mom and my dad were holding my hand and walking me all, as far as they could walk.
Yeah.
And then they finally
That
let
was
me
it,
go, and
huh?
that was
Yeah.
the moment
Yeah.
when I went in and I had my transplant. 14 hours.
Oh, that's a long time.
14 hours. My parents didn't see me until 10 a.m. the next morning.
Wow.
It was a long
Yeah.
journey.
Well, you know, when my brother got the call, you know, like you said, you kind of forget you have that pager. And when Jared received the call, it was 2 days after my birthday. My birthday's November 16th, and he didn't call me on my birthday to say happy birthday.
Right.
So I was getting ready for work in the morning, and again, I worked at the dental office, and it was 6 a.m. I was up getting ready, and my phone rings, and I see my brother's number, and I'm like, huh. He's calling me to tell me happy birthday because he forgot 2 days ago.
Right.
So I kind of had this tune when I answered the phone. And I go, hey, what's up? And he goes, they've got a liver. They called me. They asked me if I wanted it. And I said, hell yeah. I was like, what? He goes, they've got a liver. They asked me if I wanted it. And I said, hell yeah. At that point, I lost it because I truly heard what he said the second time. That was at 6 o'clock in the morning. So he was heading to the hospital. He was supposed to have the surgery at 1:30. Then it was 3:30. Then it was 4:30. And I kept thinking, this is not going to happen today. Because when he was in intensive care in January, there was a liver available. They told him he was getting it. And then he didn't eat that whole day. I was not real happy with the hospital then.
No.
And then it went all night. They never came to get him. And then in the morning, his doctor came in and said it wasn't a great match and it was kind of too big. And, you know, they went into detail. And so he didn't get that one. So I kind of thought that's what was going to happen. And but 7:30 that night, we got the call that he just went in. And by 11:30 that night, he was out. His color had already changed. I was in Texas, right? My brother's in Michigan, and just the difference. Pictures that my mom sent, you know, it was just, oh my gosh, you know, yeah. And his scar, they call the liver scar like the Mercedes-Benz symbol because of how it comes down and they cut you across and just kind of open you up.
Yeah.
I could get into details, but I won't. But you know, I'm sure with you too, Stephanie, there's so much more to these stories. There's so much more I could tell you about him and his journey and what he was doing when I spent the 12 days in intensive care sleeping on the floor. Because they thought they were going to lose him. Because there's a thing with the liver called the MELD score. And if your MELD is 40, there's really like no coming back from that. He was at 39. So we probably should do another one of these and then really get into depth, you know, and talk about the journey and the struggle and what, you know, recipients really need. So is there anything else you want to share about your story?
I just want people to be aware of how important organ donation really is. Because, you know, there's a lot of misconceptions about being an organ donor. Oh, well, I want to be cremated, so I can't donate my organs. Or, oh, if I'm on a ventilator, that's the first thing the doctor is going to do is take me off and take my organs. That's not true at all. That is totally not true. If you want to be cremated, you can still donate your organs and be cremated.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
That's now. Where can we go to get information?
You can go. They have a website, donatelife.org.
Okay.
And you can read facts. You can read information. You can read testimonials. You can sign up to be an organ donor.
Right. And isn't that some kind of mark on your driver's license? I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Aunt Teresa's watching you, honey. She said, "I'm so proud of you, Stephanie."
That's my aunt.
Yeah. And Miss Tina's watching.
Hi, Miss Tina.
And Sherry Rainey. She's
That is
watching.
my mom.
Okay, cool.
Friend.
And one of our friends who says, I don't trust meds. You know that there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah.
Remicade is a drug that when my brother was in intensive care, when all this first happened to him, the doctors, when they do the rounds, they got to his room and of course the door's open, and the doctor that was talking to the residents said, "This is another Remicade case." And there were 5 people on that floor needing livers. So, you know, it's tough. And I'm not one for meds either, but you know, we trust our doctors.
Yeah.
I just think.
I mean, because they're the one, you know, taking care of you. They're doctors, and you assume that they know what they're talking about because this is what they went into. You know, they went in to help other people. That's their profession, and you know, you just automatically feel, oh, okay, they're recommending I take this med. So yeah.
You know, and Tina made a good point here. She said skin can be donated too.
Oh, yeah. Skin, tendons, muscles,
and
eye, cornea, bones.
So I work for a dentist on Fridays, and we do implants, dental implants, and we get bone that is like powder. And when somebody has a lot of bone loss and they want an implant, we fill that space with the bone.
Yes.
And it's like sugar granules, but of course it's all processed. It's sanitized. I mean, it's clean, folks. But yeah, so there's so many parts of our body that can be used to benefit everybody.
Absolutely. An organ donor can save up to 8 lives. And somebody who donates tissue, muscles, things of that sort, can save up to 50 lives. 50 people. That blows my mind. You know, and unfortunately there was just something in the news about a little boy. I think he was 8 months old, and he had been waiting. But I apologize, folks. I can't remember what he was waiting on. But you know, and I know there's reasons for limitations they have, because I remember reading it. But you had to be under 41, under 150 pounds, a non-smoker, non-drinker. There were all of these, you know, and I get that, and yet part of me at the same time is like, if I'm a match, why does it matter? Yeah. You know, at least it may prolong. I believe it was a liver that this little boy was waiting for, and nobody had been a match, because you can do a partial liver transplant, but no one was a match for my brother. So that was the issue there. So
Danny D said, thank you so much for sharing your story and experiences. So brave. Danny, I did not know that. New organ donor right here.
Awesome. Yes. Amazing.
Good job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, I think we're pretty good for today. I think we've gotten a lot of information. And where can you go and look at it again?
It's Donate Life, DonateLife.org, org.org. So you can go, and they have tons of information. If you have any concerns or questions, you could look on their website and read information, facts, other people's stories. They have other people's stories on there as well.
You know that that event they do every year, the games.
Oh,
Gift of Life. What's the
Oregon
name? Yeah.
Olympics or something
Yes.
like that.
Do you know they were at Dynamo Stadium
I
like
did not know
6
that.
years ago, and I met April's dad at that
so
event.
amazing.
And when you go to that, it's kind of cool because every state that shows up, they have pins made from that state, and you can exchange them with people. You have one?
I have one, yes. I have not gone to a game,
Okay.
but I got this from the organization that I'm involved with.
Yeah.
So, where is it? It's
Oh my
somewhere.
gosh! Don't say you lost it.
No, right
there
here.
it is.
It says
Oh, yeah.
Donate
Recipient.
Life recipient.
Yeah. So you can exchange pins with people, and I have one from Michigan and one from Missouri. I think I've got them at home. I didn't even think to bring them, but you know when you make new friends and you meet people, but you know they have this hall, and it was down near Hard Rock Cafe. It was a theater where the Nutcracker is. Okay,
Oh,
where the
okay.
I forget which hobby center or whatever that is down there. They had pictures, giant postboard pictures of everyone that was a donor.
Wow.
And so
That's
you
amazing.
walked into that room, and it was just overwhelming. And you would see people standing near the pictures of the person that was their donor. You know, they're a donor,
That's
and
so
people
amazing.
crying and taking pictures and meeting families. And oh my gosh, I think I cried for 4 days. Because I went every day, I hung out with everybody for like the big barbecue dinner they had afterwards. Because April's dad is a big part of Gift of Life in Michigan.
Yeah.
And so, but man, they had stories. If you were sitting in Dynamo Stadium, they had a big screen set up, and they had the story of the person that had passed away. And
That's
then,
awesome.
oh my gosh, that's what I mean. You think you might
so
have gotten
awesome.
a little bit emotional right here today, folks? When you're in a stadium full of people that have been a living donor, that their family member has been a donor, the recipient that is now living because of that loved one. It is so wonderfully overwhelming. It's just kind of like, you know, I'm sure with you were the same way. I know we're gonna get going, but when you knew you were getting your lungs, in the back of your head there's that somebody just lost a loved one. So it's joyous and it's sad at the same time. It's really hard to explain because I know I went through that, and it was my brother. It wasn't me. You know what I mean? So I'm thankful you're here.
Thank you.
I'm thankful for your donors family and anybody out there that is an organ donor. If you're, call us and give us your story. Message us on Facebook. I think this could be a wonderful, we could do this again, and there's so much that we didn't say, so.
There's a lot that needs to be told about organ donation and what the recipient goes through and what the donor family goes through, especially.
Right.
Nobody's there to tell their side of the story.
No, they're just the
there.
one, yes.
Yeah.
And everything is around the recipient, and I see that, but all right, my dears, let me see, did we have, hi Sarah, There's a group from Sedona waving at us. Okay, let's wave back. There you go, we're waving. Well, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Stephanie, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And I think we're going to do this again because it is just such an important subject. So, everybody have a good evening, and we'll see you next time on Between Friends. Stay caffeinated.